Outlaw Sports is brought to you by Molson Canadian, made from Canada, and Rocky Mountain Barbecue, Alberta barbecue cuisine at its best. After this weekend, there's no use even running the playoffs. Just give the trophy, the Stanley Cup, to the Pittsburgh Penguins and give the Coach of the Year to Dan Bylsma. I mean, the way they manhandled the Boston Bruins over the weekend, this team is awesome. Who's going to beat them? Who's going to beat this team? Every aspect is solid.
I thought that earlier in the year of the Boston Bruins. I thought, wow, defending champs.
Till injuries.
Oh, injuries. Flames have injuries.
No, you're right, but they...
A lot of teams have injuries right now, Mike.
Grant, the
Montreal Canadiens have the most injuries of any team in the NHL. You can't use it, but we're getting off.
We'll go back to that in a bit.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean,
you have your little moment.
No, but we're talking about Pittsburgh.
Yes, okay.
But it was a few months ago.
No one's had more injuries than Pittsburgh either.
I thought, yeah, and key injury.
Yes.
I thought the Boston Bruins were untouchable because they had everything. They had toughness, they had skill, they had great goaltending.
Now they got key injuries.
Now it's changed.
Key injuries.
Now it's changed. Now I think the same with the Pittsburgh Penguins. And if they get Sidney Crosby, as you say, that's just incredible. But isn't it like what I always say? You want Tiger Woods in the finals. You want to see who can knock Tiger Woods off. You want the best. You want the Green Bay Packers. And, see who can knock the #1 team off. So I hope the Penguins are there, because I want to see if somebody can knock the best off. I think that's what makes sports great. So right now, I would agree with you. Pittsburgh Penguins look unbeatable. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, they've got their sights set on the New York Rangers. There's no doubt about it in the East.
They've beaten Boston twice, haven't they, recently, too?
Yes, and the way they played against Boston. Okay, now you can say whatever you want about the Bruins. They are hurt, and they have a lot of injuries.
Chris Letang's not playing, and Sidney Crosby's not playing on Pittsburgh, right?
And Stahl wasn't playing.
But right now, so...
I hear what you're saying. Okay, I'm just saying both teams.
You want to talk Boston, but let's not use injuries as an excuse for any team right now. Okay, you okay?
Sure. Yeah.
But Dan Bylsma has to be the best coach. We saw it on 24/7 last year, that HBO special, how he handled the dressing room. Even though he was on camera, I think he was so much quality in his coaching and in his conversation with players. I really respected him. How he can get this team. Last year they didn't have Malkin for a while, didn't have Stahl for a while, and Crosby for a long time, and they found ways to win. Not the Stanley Cup, but found ways to win.
Team concept, to me, it's beautiful. It is.
Everybody should learn from Dan Bylsma. Every coach should learn from this guy and do the same.
And getting back to the Bruins, how they beat the Bruins.
The Boston Bruins. How
they beat the Bruins. They forechecked, they knocked Chara all over the place. They were aggressive every time Boston turned around. The only way that Boston was able to defend was newcomer Marty Turco taking the puck and headmanning it up to the players. Now, having said that, looking at Boston, despite their injuries, they've only got one line scoring, and Tim Thomas, for some reason, has gone into the tank.
Since when?
Making those big, since that whole White House thing.
White House thing.
Yeah.
His mind got kind of screwy. And
yeah, he's just not the same player.
And Tuukka Rask gets hurt, the backup goalie, who really is the &1 goalie, isn't he?
Yes, and Marty Turco now.
Gets hurt.
So
Marty Turco's been playing in Austria.
Sure, having fish thrown at him. I guess that's like
a good pickup.
Yeah,
and he can't play in the playoffs, can he? That's part of the rules. He can play to the end of the regular season as a free agent pickup.
So give Thomas some rest, I guess, and just, hey, you get into the playoffs and anything can happen. But
yeah, I think that's one thing you always look at. We're looking at the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Dallas Stars. Boy, they look good. Who can beat this team? Oh, the St. Louis Blues, #1. Something happens between now and once the playoffs get going. You can't judge by what you see on teams that are struggling or teams that are very good. Something changes come playoff time, so don't count the Bruins out. I will say, though, is Peverly and Thornton coming? Are they sure coming back?
You think so? You think so?
But you think with them being out, why is Brad Marchand struggling like we never thought he would? Why is a guy like Dennis Seidenberg, for instance, not getting points like he used to too? So something is happening with the Bruins. Perhaps they'll pick it up come playoff time. You assume they will. However, I've never thought they were that good on defense. It's easy for me to say that now, right, when they're struggling a little bit. So perhaps Dan Bylsma has seen a weakness, that if we have great forecheckers, we can get on these guys.
One thing I want to ask you, Bryzgalov. We've ridiculed him like crazy over the past. He's kind of an interesting cat to watch. You never know what's going to come out of his mouth. Last week, Daniel Briere said hey, he's finally turning into a decent teammate. I was going, what the hell does that mean? Now he's the star of the week. He started 11 straight games. Last week he won 3, including 2 shutouts. Finally, after 11, they gave him a rest. But is he going to become the goalie that the Flyers thought he was?
Interesting. A lot of guys in Phoenix, from what I heard, the Coyotes were saying they're kind of glad he was gone. Great goaltending with the Coyotes.
Yeah.
But that personality rubbed guys the wrong
Sure.
way, his teammates the wrong way. Maybe that's what Briere was talking about. Maybe he's coming around. You know what? We talk about how much money players and athletes make. I think it takes a certain kind of strength and a character in an athlete to live up to that.
Yeah.
And what did he sign for? It was a huge contract.
$57 million?
Yes.
For
a long... And so
$57 million? I'm just guessing, but obviously a good haircut costs $57 and $1.
He has said some strange things, but he's a character.
Yeah.
So maybe he's just changing, living up to the billing as being one of the top paid goalies in the NHL and being the go-to guy, the guy this team needs right now.
And a market like Philly.
Yes, a hotbed for hockey. So maybe he's learned his lesson there to shut up a little bit, treat your teammates differently, and learn that if you're a big money guy, you have to win. So maybe it's coming together at the right time.
Feeling the winter chill? Call the experts at Simply Yours Windows and Doors. Get the job done right, on time, and on budget. Their #1 concern is your comfort.